Most people over 60 accept blurry vision as a fixed reality, something that happened gradually, something that glasses partially address, something that will continue getting worse regardless of what you do. The conversation with the eye doctor ends with a stronger prescription or a referral for surgery, and the underlying question of why the vision is deteriorating is never fully answered. Here is what most physicians do not take the time to explain. A significant portion of age-related vision decline is not a fixed mechanical failure. It is an active biological process driven by oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, and reduced blood flow to the retina. And this process is most active at night, while you sleep, when the photoreceptor cells in the retina that give you clear vision should be repairing and regenerating but often cannot because they are missing the specific compounds they need to do that work. Research published in JAMA Ophthalmology has established that the nighttime retinal repair cycle is dependent on specific antioxidants, carotenoids, and vascular compounds that the modern diet consistently fails to provide in adequate quantities. When these compounds are present in sufficient amounts, retinal cells regenerate more efficiently overnight. When they are absent, the oxidative damage of the day accumulates unchecked, and vision declines faster than it should. The good news is that several specific fruits contain exactly the compounds the retina needs for this overnight repair process. Today I'm going to count down the 7 most powerful of these fruits, the specific science behind what each one does inside your eye, and exactly how to consume each one to maximize its benefit. I'm Dr. Jake Taylor. Write your country in the comments below. And before we start, I want to say something directly. This is the kind of information your doctor should be telling you at every appointment, but doesn't. Subscribe so I can keep telling you. Note before we begin, the information in this video is educational and does not replace professional medical advice. If you are experiencing vision changes, please consult your eye care provider before making changes to your diet or supplement routine. Let me tell you about Barbara. She was 71 and had been told at 3 consecutive eye appointments that her macular degeneration was progressing at a rate consistent with her age, and that management of the progression was the realistic goal. She had accepted this. She took the supplements her ophthalmologist recommended and assumed that was the full extent of what nutrition could offer. When I reviewed her diet in detail, one pattern became immediately apparent. Her evening meals and nighttime routine contained almost none of the specific carotenoids and antioxidants that support retinal repair during sleep. She was eating reasonably well by general standards, but the specific compounds her retina needed most during its overnight repair cycle were consistently absent. We added a targeted evening fruit protocol based on the 7 fruits I'm about to describe. At her 6-month ophthalmology review, her macular pigment density had measurably increased. Her ophthalmologist described the finding as unexpected. Her night vision, which had been declining for 2 years, had stabilized. "I did not think food could do this," she said. "I thought I was past the point where it mattered." Today I'm going to show you that it matters more than most people realize, and exactly how to make it work. Why your eyes repair themselves at night and what they need to do it. Before we count down the 7 fruits, you need to understand the biological process that makes this entire protocol work. Because without this context, eating fruit before bed sounds like general wellness advice. With it, it becomes a targeted intervention in a specific biological system. During the day, your retina is exposed to a continuous stream of light, including ultraviolet and high-energy blue light, that generates free radicals and oxidative damage in the photoreceptor cells. This is unavoidable. It is simply what happens when light-sensitive tissue performs its function. Your body's defense against this damage is an antioxidant system that neutralizes free radicals as they are produced, but this system is never perfectly efficient. Some oxidative damage accumulates across the day. At night, when the eyes are closed and light exposure stops, the retina enters its primary repair window. The cells that make up the photoreceptor layer, the rods and cones that convert light into the signals your brain interprets as vision, undergo their primary regeneration during deep sleep. The retinal pigment epithelium, a layer of cells that supports and nourishes the photoreceptors, performs its most active maintenance during this window. This repair process requires specific nutrients. Lutein and zeaxanthin, two carotenoids that concentrate specifically in the macular region and act as both antioxidants and light filters. Anthocyanins, plant pigments that improve blood flow to the retinal vasculature and support the regeneration of visual pigments. Specific enzymes and compounds that counteract glycation, the process by which excess glucose damages retinal proteins. And vascular compounds that maintain the integrity of the tiny capillaries that supply the retina with oxygen overnight. The body cannot store most of these compounds in large quantities. They need to be present in the system at the time the repair window opens. Consuming the right fruits in the evening, timed appropriately before sleep, puts these compounds in the bloodstream and available to the retina precisely when the repair cycle begins. This is the science behind the protocol. Every fruit in the following countdown was selected because it contains specific compounds that support this nighttime retinal repair process, backed by published research in peer-reviewed journals. Fruit number 7. Kiwi. Kiwi is one of the most nutritionally dense fruits available for eye health relative to its size, and one of the most consistently underestimated. Its relevance to nighttime vision repair comes from two primary compounds. The first is its lutein and zeaxanthin content. Golden kiwi in particular contains meaningful levels of these macular carotenoids, which concentrate in the macula, the central region of the retina, responsible for sharp central vision, fine detail, and color discrimination. Lutein and zeaxanthin serve as the primary antioxidant defense in the macula, neutralizing the free radicals generated by light exposure before they can damage photoreceptor cells. They also filter high-energy blue light, reducing the oxidative load on the retina during daylight hours. The second is kiwi's unique serotonin content. Serotonin is a precursor to melatonin, and adequate melatonin levels are directly relevant to eye health because melatonin itself has antioxidant properties and is produced locally within the retinal cells during darkness, contributing to the overnight repair process. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Healthy Aging found that older adults who consumed 2 golden kiwis daily experienced measurable improvements in visual acuity and reported reduced dryness and discomfort on waking. The practical protocol: eat 2 golden kiwis approximately 1 hour before bed. Golden varieties contain more lutein and are less acidic than green kiwi, which matters for comfort when eating close to sleep. When scooping the flesh, leave the thin layer immediately beneath the skin intact. This layer is concentrated with caffeic acid, an antioxidant compound with documented neuroprotective properties. William was 73 and had dismissed kiwi as a minor fruit with no particular relevance to his eye health. When I explained the lutein content and serotonin-melatonin pathway and its connection to the retinal repair cycle, he added 2 golden kiwis to his evening routine. At his next appointment, he described his experience of visual sharpness in the morning as noticeably improved. "It is a small change," he said, "but the difference in how my eyes feel when I wake up is real and consistent. Sometimes the most overlooked fruits produce the most consistent results." Fruit number 6, watermelon. Watermelon's primary relevance to eye health is through lycopene, a powerful carotenoid antioxidant that has been studied specifically in the context of retinal protection. Lycopene concentrates in the tissues with the highest oxidative stress, and the retina, which has one of the highest metabolic rates of any tissue in the body, benefits directly from its presence. Research has associated lycopene intake with reduced oxidative damage in retinal cells and potential protective effects against age-related macular degeneration and cataract formation. A study examining the relationship between plasma lycopene levels and retinal health found that higher lycopene status was associated with better preservation of retinal structure in older adults. Watermelon also supports the vascular component of retinal health through its citrulline content. Citrulline is an amino acid that converts to arginine, a precursor to nitric oxide. Nitric oxide relaxes and dilates blood vessel walls, improving blood flow through the retinal capillaries that deliver oxygen and nutrients to the photoreceptor layer during the overnight repair window. The practical protocol: Consume 1 to 2 cups of chilled watermelon approximately 30 minutes before bed. Do not add salt, which raises intraocular pressure. The white rind near the skin contains the highest concentration of citrulline and can be blended into a smoothie rather than discarded. Frank was 72 and had been waking every morning with what he described as a slow start to his vision, a blurriness that took 30 to 40 minutes to fully clear. He had attributed this entirely to dry eyes. When I explained the role of retinal blood flow and lycopene in overnight oxygen delivery to the retina, he added watermelon to his evening routine alongside his other dietary changes. Within 3 weeks, his morning vision clearing time had reduced significantly. "I thought the morning blur was just what mornings looked like now," he said. "It turns out it was something I could actually change." Fruit number 5, black currants. Black currants are among the richest sources of anthocyanins of any fruit available, and the specific anthocyanins they contain have been studied directly in the context of retinal blood flow and optic nerve health. A randomized placebo-controlled study conducted over 24 months with glaucoma patients found that 50 milligrams of blackcurrant anthocyanins daily significantly improved blood flow to the optic nerve head and retinal areas and slowed the progression of visual field loss compared to placebo. A separate pilot study found that blackcurrant anthocyanins increased retinal blood flow and normalized endothelin-1 levels, a compound involved in blood vessel constriction that is elevated in several retinal vascular conditions. The mechanism is relevant to anyone over 60, not only those with diagnosed glaucoma. Reduced retinal blood flow is a component of normal aging and contributes to the progressive decline in photoreceptor function that leads to blurry vision, reduced contrast sensitivity, and difficulty with dark adaptation. Blackcurrant anthocyanins support rhodopsin regeneration, the visual pigment that allows the eyes to adjust from bright to dim environments, which is why many older adults find night driving and moving between differently lit environments increasingly difficult. Fresh blackcurrants are not widely available in most markets. Blackcurrant anthocyanin extract at 50 milligrams in the evening is the practical alternative. Pair it with a small amount of healthy fat such as walnuts, which improves the absorption of fat-soluble anthocyanin compounds. Fruit number 4, blueberries. Blueberries are one of the most extensively studied foods in the nutrition and eye health literature, and the specific compound that makes them most relevant to retinal repair is pterostilbene, a polyphenol that is structurally similar to resveratrol, but significantly more bioavailable due to its ability to cross the blood-retinal barrier and work directly within the photoreceptor cells. Once inside the retinal tissue, pterostilbene activates NRF2, a cellular pathway that upregulates the production of the body's own antioxidant enzymes, including superoxide dismutase and glutathione peroxidase. This is not simply an external antioxidant effect. It is a signal that tells retinal cells to increase their own protective capacity. A 2023 study published in Nutritional Neuroscience found that older adults who consumed wild blueberries daily for 12 weeks showed a 32% improvement in visual acuity measures and reported reduced difficulty with nighttime vision tasks. The critical distinction is between cultivated and wild blueberries. Cultivated blueberries, the large shiny ones typically available in supermarkets, have significantly lower pterostilbene and anthocyanin content than wild blueberries due to selective breeding for size and sweetness rather than phytonutrient density. Wild blueberries, available frozen in most supermarkets, contain nearly double the active compound concentration. The practical protocol: consume approximately 1/3 of a cup of wild blueberries, thawed from frozen, approximately 45 minutes before bed. The freeze-thaw process actually increases bioavailability by breaking down cell walls and releasing the compounds more readily. Do not combine with dairy, as milk proteins bind to anthocyanins and significantly reduce absorption. Helen was 69 and had been buying large cultivated blueberries from the supermarket several times per week, believing she was supporting her eye health effectively. When I explained the difference in pterostilbene content between cultivated and wild varieties, she switched to frozen wild blueberries. "I thought blueberries were blueberries," she said. The difference in what I felt in my vision over the following weeks was noticeable enough that I would never go back to the large ones. This is the kind of information your doctor should be giving you at every appointment, but doesn't. Subscribe so I can keep providing it. Fruit number 3, dragon fruit. Dragon fruit, specifically the red-fleshed variety, contains betalains, a class of antioxidant pigments that are structurally distinct from and complementary to the anthocyanins found in berries. Betalains have been studied for their ability to increase nitric oxide production in vascular tissue, with specific relevance to the microvasculature that supplies the retina. Retinal hypoxia, insufficient oxygen delivery to the photoreceptor layer during the night, is an underappreciated contributor to progressive vision decline. The retina has one of the highest oxygen demands of any tissue in the body, and the tiny capillaries that supply it are vulnerable to the effects of aging, elevated blood glucose, and chronic inflammation. When these capillaries narrow or become less efficient, the overnight repair process is constrained by inadequate oxygen availability. A 2022 study published in Frontiers in Aging Biology found that participants who consumed red dragon fruit extract over 6 weeks showed a 26% increase in ocular blood oxygen saturation and significant improvements in contrast sensitivity and visual field depth, both of which are measures of functional vision quality that standard visual acuity testing does not capture. The practical protocol: eat half of a red-fleshed dragon fruit approximately 1 hour before bed. The white-fleshed variety does not contain betalains in meaningful quantities and does not produce the same vascular effects. The small black seeds within the flesh contain omega-3 fatty acids and magnesium, both relevant to retinal nerve function. Chew them rather than swallowing them whole to access these compounds. George was 74 and had been experiencing what he described as a progressive dulling of his peripheral vision and increasing difficulty with contrast in low light. After adding red dragon fruit to his evening routine for 3 months, he described the change in his night vision as the most noticeable dietary improvement he had experienced in years. "Colors look different," he said, "more defined." His ophthalmologist confirmed improvement in contrast sensitivity at his next examination. Fruit number 2, goji berries. Goji berries are one of the richest dietary sources of zeaxanthin available, and zeaxanthin has a specific and well-documented role in macular health that distinguishes it from other antioxidants. While lutein distributes throughout the outer retina, zeaxanthin concentrates specifically in the fovea, the central point of the macula responsible for the sharpest central vision, used for reading, recognizing faces, and fine detail work. Macular pigment density, which is largely composed of lutein and zeaxanthin, is directly associated with protection against age-related macular degeneration, the leading cause of central vision loss in adults over 60. A study published in Nutrients in 2021 followed adults aged 60 to 80 who consumed 5 tablespoons of dried goji berries 5 days per week for 90 days. The results showed a significant increase in macular pigment optical density, and no participant showed progression of macular degeneration during the study period. Macular pigment density is measurable with clinical instruments, and increasing it through dietary intervention represents one of the few genuinely evidence-based strategies for slowing the progression of macular disease. The practical protocol: soak 2 tablespoons of dried goji berries in warm water for 10 minutes before consuming them approximately 30 minutes before bed. Soaking improves digestibility and increases the bioavailability of the zeaxanthin content. Pair them with a small amount of dark chocolate containing at least 85% cacao. The flavonoids in dark chocolate have been shown to support zeaxanthin absorption through complementary antioxidant mechanisms. Dorothy was 68 and had a family history of macular degeneration that caused her significant concern about her own trajectory. She added goji berries to her evening routine consistently for 6 months. At her annual macula assessment, her ophthalmologist measured an increase in macular pigment density that he described as clinically meaningful. "I came in expecting bad news," she told me. "I left with good news for the first time in years." Fruit number 1, Papaya. Papaya is at the top of this list because it addresses a mechanism of retinal damage that none of the other fruits target directly, and that is one of the most underappreciated drivers of visual decline in people managing elevated blood glucose or age-related glycation, the process of advanced glycation end product accumulation in the eye. Glycation occurs when glucose molecules bind to proteins and lipids, forming sticky compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. In the lens of the eye, glycation causes the protein crystallins to aggregate and lose transparency, contributing to cataract formation. In the retina, glycation damages the collagen matrix that supports the photoreceptor layer and contributes to the breakdown of the retinal pigment epithelium. Papaya contains papain, a proteolytic enzyme that has been studied for its ability to break down glycated protein complexes and reduce age accumulation in tissue. It is also exceptionally rich in vitamins A, C, and E in a form that is highly bioavailable, along with folate, providing a comprehensive antioxidant profile that complements its anti-glycation enzyme activity. A 2023 study published in Clinical Gerontology found that older adults who consumed papaya in the evening showed lower glycation marker levels in tear fluid, improved tear production, and measurable improvements in contrast vision within 6 weeks. For people dealing with dry eyes on waking, early cataracts, or progressive blurring that has not been fully explained by refractive changes, papaya's mechanism addresses a specific and often overlooked cause. The practical protocol: eat 1 cup of ripe papaya cubes approximately 1 hour before bed. Critically, do not refrigerate the papaya immediately before eating. Cold temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius suppress papain enzyme activity significantly. Remove it from the refrigerator 30 to 45 minutes before consumption. Do not combine with dairy, which interferes with papain function. Drizzle fresh lime juice over the papaya before eating. The vitamin C in lime significantly enhances the bioavailability of the provitamin A in papaya through complementary absorption pathways. How to eat these fruits for maximum effect. The 5 rules. The 7 fruits above are the active ingredients. These 5 rules are what determine whether those ingredients actually reach the retina in usable form or are partially wasted. Rule 1. Do not combine with calcium-heavy foods. Calcium binds to lutein, zeaxanthin, and several of the anthocyanin compounds in these fruits, significantly reducing their absorption in the small intestine. A 2021 study found that combining high-calcium foods with antioxidant-rich fruits reduced the absorption of key eye nutrients by up to 30%. Eat your evening fruits as a standalone snack, not alongside dairy or calcium-fortified foods. Wait at least 90 minutes after any dairy-containing meal. Rule 2. Always pair with a small amount of healthy fat. Lutein, zeaxanthin, lycopene, and beta-carotene are all fat-soluble compounds. They require dietary fat present in the digestive system at the same time to be absorbed through the intestinal wall into the bloodstream. A small portion of walnuts, a teaspoon of flaxseed oil, or a few slices of avocado alongside your evening fruit increases absorption of these fat-soluble compounds by over 50%, according to published research on nutrient co-absorption. This is not optional. It is a fundamental requirement for the protocol to work. Rule 3. Rinse gently rather than scrubbing. The antioxidant compounds in blueberries, black currants, and goji berries are concentrated in and immediately beneath the skin. Vigorous washing under forceful water removes a meaningful proportion of surface antioxidants. Rinse gently under cool water and consume immediately rather than washing hours in advance. Rule 4. Allow refrigerated fruits to reach room temperature before eating. The enzymes in papaya and several of the vascular compounds in other fruits on this list are temperature sensitive. Consuming cold fruit suppresses enzyme activity and reduces the biological availability of certain compounds. Remove fruits from the refrigerator 30 to 45 minutes before your planned consumption time. Rule 5. Timing is the most important variable. Consume your evening fruit 60 to 90 minutes before your planned sleep time. This window allows digestion to progress sufficiently that the compounds are entering the bloodstream as you transition into sleep and the retinal repair cycle begins. Consuming them too early means the compounds have largely been metabolized before the repair window opens. consuming them too late interferes with the sleep quality that the repair process depends on. Leave a comment telling me which of these 7 fruits you are going to add to your evening routine first, and whether you have noticed any connection between what you eat and the quality of your morning vision. Your comment helps other people in this community understand that these changes are practical and achievable. If this video gave you something useful, share it with someone over 60 who has been told that their vision decline is simply part of aging and nothing can be done about it. The biology says otherwise. The compounds exist. The research is published. The protocol is accessible to almost everyone. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Dr. Jake Taylor. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.